Hey guys, so today I just want to do a walkthrough of my Spade Wellesley. I just recently purchased her and I moved in immediately about 4 weeks ago, and I'm really happy. I wasn't sure I was going to be able to make it work because I do like to put a lot into my planners, and if you know anything about the Wellesley, it is a very tight, compact little planner, and the leather is it's not very giving, I guess you could say. I recently moved out of another planner, actually this Daytimer Malibu here, that I had been in for probably over a year, and I was really in love with this planner, and it had a lot of room, a lot of give. The leather is really soft, if you can see, and it's really fat. There's a lot of room in there, and there's just room to give more, and the strap is really giving too. And I was in love with this planner, and I found it really difficult actually to move out of it, but I was also excited because when I moved into this, as you can see, this planner is very beat up, and I tend to use my planners a lot, throw them in and out of my bag, and I mean, I'm constantly using them. It's a wallet, it's a planner, it's all in my notes, it's sort of a journal, it's everything in one. And I do take it absolutely everywhere with me. I use it for home, I use it for work. So I was obsessed with this guy here, but just in looking at it, you can tell this one is a lot more sophisticated looking. It's much nicer. To me, it just looks all around, it looks classier. So once I moved in, I really didn't want to go back. As much as I love this Daytimer here, I did not want to go back, although the amount of bulk that I like to put in my planners, you can see here, it's pretty thick even now. So I was really worried that I wasn't going to be able to make that work, but so far so good. I'm also kind of worried about the zipper here, but I'll be doing a separate review video on this planner here because it is such an amazing planner, and it does come in the personal and the A5, and you know Daytimer is a very, I mean, it's a good brand. I know it's not Filofax, I know it's not Kate Spade or Kiki K or anything, you know, cute and fashionable like those, but it's a good brand. You just know it. It's a household name. So I will be doing a separate video to talk about this here. If any of you do know, if you have been, say, in a Wellesley for a year, or you know, even more than 6 months, please drop a comment and let me know how the leather, you know, how it reacts, I guess, over time. I want to know if it continues to soften and maybe it'll relax some, because I have to keep a close watch here because of all this bulge here, this one bulge right here. See, that's my pen, and it's in the pen loop right where it's supposed to be. It's not a huge pen, and I'm always watching it because I'm afraid it's going to start pulling on the zipper. I mean, so far so good. It hasn't created any problems. The zipper's it's still really smooth. I mean, it might catch, like if the pen arm swivels out, it might catch, but it's still very smooth. It doesn't seem like it right now, but it is. It's a great zipper, and I really don't have a whole lot of problems with it. So when it's on my desk at work during the day, I do just kind of keep it unzipped. I only really zip it to stay in my purse or to sit at home overnight, really, because I do want this leather to expand. But we'll see. I'm sure I'll do an update at some point down the road, but in the meantime, please let me know your experiences with it and how she holds up, pretty much. So just to show you, I did add these two charms here. There's a little coral tassel and a pineapple that I got from Michael's. The tassel's just from, they have these at Michael's and as well as online, but it's just from some old wallet I had laying around. And I really love the way the coral looks with this black. I think it's very beautiful. However, when you open it up, the hot pink on the inside of the planner, I'll show you in a second, doesn't really go well with it. So that's a little bit upsetting, but eventually I'll get something like a purple, something that works well with the outside and the inside. But for now, I just try not to let it bother me too much. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. See, it's not a bad zipper. It's really smooth. And so far, it has held up very, very well to the amount of bulk in this planner. I mean, I gotta hand it to this zipper. It's a great zipper. It is super strong. There's absolutely no visible wear happening here. So I'm gonna continue to keep an eye on that. Sorry, my little pineapple charm is pretty heavy, so it's loud. Okay. And like I said, this is a stiff planner, so you do have to train the spine a little bit. It's just some cardboard. So if you can just, you know, wiggle it around and sort of bend it back a little bit, it does lay flat, and it's really not a problem. Like I said, this coral here, you can see does not really go with the pink in this planner at all, but it doesn't weigh on me a whole lot. Eventually I'll change it out. So just to get started, like I said, immediately, right off the bat, you've got my card here. It's my main spinning card. And although it's not pretty, it's more about ease of access. I mean, everything else in here is incredibly beautiful, but I do like to have this card ready to slide out at a moment's notice, especially the way it sits in my bag. My whole planner sits like this, so I like to be able to reach down in there and grab the card out like so. So that's more utilitarian than for any aesthetic purpose or anything. So I'm just going to move that out of the way, show you everything else. So along with the ease of access of the card, I keep my cash in this front pocket here. Also so that when it is sitting in my purse, I can just grab it out easily. Because I don't want to be I mean, really, this whole thing is supposed to be about convenience and having all the pertinent details of your life in one place. So I don't want to be scrambling around when I'm at a checkout and I've got a long line of people behind me, or I'm rushing off somewhere to get money or to get a card out of my planner. I mean, I really have to be comfortable using it, and it has to be sort of a second nature. So all my other cards I keep over here, and I'll show you as soon as we start to flip into the pages. Here, I don't really keep a whole lot. I have a reminder here for my son's pictures and a little card sleeve that I use. I have a lot of those little sleeves actually, and I'll show you some of them here. Hold on. Okay, sorry. I had a string hanging off my shirt. It's going to drive me nuts. Anyway, I have several of those sleeves. They're just these little envelopes that I got from probably Michael's or, you know, one of the other, Hobby Lobby, Joann, one of those. I have my 2 sets of Target page flags here that I just put a strip of washi on the back. I didn't even mean for it to happen. This is my favorite washi, but when I made this dashboard here, I didn't realize it actually matched. So, and then of course, when I moved all of this in from my previous planner into this one, it just matched even more, and it just seems so meant to be. All it just really fell together. Honestly, I didn't even plan it. So here I have some stickies that I like to keep on hand. It's really not a lot of bulk at all. It's these little, they're tab sticky notes. I got them from the Container Store, and I'm gonna do a whole nother video because I have a whole collection of sticky notes. I am sticky note obsessed, so I'm gonna do a separate video on that. So I'm gonna try not to go into too much detail about these here, but these are tab sticky notes, so that when you do have a tab, you can just write on them and you stick it on there, and you don't have to actually mess your tab up. You can just interchange them. But I have a specific use that I use these for, and I'll show you when we get into the pages. So I keep those on hand because I use them so much. Another set of page flags here, just 2 different color sets here. On another one of these little sleeves, I keep these sticky notes here. And these are just things I tend to use regularly, some of my favorites. I try not to keep too much bulk up in the front here. Another little set of stickies. And then here I keep in this little sleeve, this is one of my main purposes for these sleeves, is my badge for work, because it's ugly, it's not cute, but I do need to have it readily on hand. I like to keep it in the front of my planner so that I can just when my planner is still closed and zipped up, I can just swipe my planner over the gate and it'll let me in. But because this is not pretty, but I do need to have it available, I just keep it in this little sleeve. And it's very visually appealing, and it's always right where I left it. So, and going right into the inserts here, I have my little flyleaf dashboard with the dream sticker here. It's a clear back sticker, so it just really works together. It looks like it's a part of the dashboard. And I do use this for certain sticky notes and my page flags and such. I made this dashboard here. I just made it out of scrapbook paper and I laminated it. You know, you punch holes in it, and it is reversible. So, and I also cut slits in it. So if I want, at any time, I can just turn it over. And I'll have another dashboard here. And I also have a back dashboard. Not to skip ahead or anything, but I keep this one here. And it's not reversible. I just think that's a really cute pattern, so I keep it on both sides. But this one also pulls in and out. So if I want to throw this one up in the front at any time, I can. So I think that's a really neat idea because at any given time, I have 3 different dashboards to choose from. So if I just, you know, want to change things up, I don't have to go home and make anything. I can just swap it right out. So I think it's really cute. Moving right in to my first section, it is my wallet section. And right off the bat, I have this plastic top-loading Filofax sleeve pocket, and I use it for my coupons. And I don't tend to carry a lot of coupons on me because I always forget about them. So I have this little piece of scrapbook paper here, and then I put a full back label style post-it actually on here, and I just write down where it's for, how much off, and the expiration date, and then I just fold it and put it in there so it doesn't create a whole ton of bulk or anything. But that way, as soon as it expires or as soon as I use it, scratch it out, I never have to go fumbling through a lot of coupons. So I find that idea really, really sweet because I make sure also that I end up not forgetting about them because they're always right there. And then I go right into the rest of my wallet section with my other cards here. So all together, my wallet section is only this thick, nothing at all. So I just keep some of my other credit cards here, my debit card, my Target card, and everything's covered so you can't see anything. My license, my son and my insurance cards, medical insurance, and another debit card here. And then in the back of my license, I keep my registration and my car insurance because anytime I worry that I'm going to get pulled over, that's the first thing that pops into my head is, oh my gosh, where's all my stuff? Where's my information? Oh my gosh, I'm not going to have it. I'm going to get in trouble. So I like knowing that it's always right here. This never moves. This never goes anywhere. And because I don't really get pulled over at all, I know it's right where I leave it. So I never have that panic moment anymore. So that's really nice. Everything I need right here. I do keep some extra, let's see, I can't really. I do keep some extra cards, like some specific store credit cards or gift cards in this little pouch here in my purse because I don't need it all the time. And I do want to have it with me just in case, maybe on the weekends we are going to go shopping at specific stores. I will have this and I'll know to grab it. But on a day-to-day basis, I just don't need these cards. And I also keep extra sticky notes and sleeves and stuff in here. So that may not be all of my cards, but it's the ones that I regularly need access to, which has never really been a problem. So, okay, after this is another divider that I had to cut the tabs off of because when I moved into this planner, it's a much tighter squeeze, and you already saw on the outside how my pen is creating a lot of bulge in the leather on the sides. So the planner, the tabs were actually rubbing up against my pen and they were getting ruined. And I love this paper that I got with the little gold foil. I love it so much I couldn't bear to watch it get ruined. So I just snipped the tabs off, and I was so devastated about it. I really didn't want to do it, but even being right up on it, you can't see it. Like this one, this tab was right here. I mean, you can't even see. You can't tell. So, and it turns out I don't really miss them, so it's not a problem. And also, when I make my dividers, I make them much larger. This is a classic size insert, personal size insert here. So you can see, actually, how much larger it is. So even without having a tab, it's got a little bit of a lip that I can turn to pretty easily. So this, we're coming into my date section. And I have a little word sticker here. I do not particularly like these word strip stickers. I know some of you ladies are crazy about them. I don't find them visually appealing. I don't really think they're cute. But I was shopping in Joann one day, and this hitched a ride home with me, and it says good things are going to happen. And I just thought, you know, you got to put that in there. I mean, that is a really positive affirmation that literally grabbed onto you and went home with you. So you got to display it in your planner. So it's a really cute little reminder, although I don't particularly like the word strips. So I have a little clear Project Life card here to start my dated section. And it's just the gold foiled, all the dates on one, and I can pull it out. And then moving into, I use the day timer week on 2 pages inserts. I have used so many different inserts. I have made so many different inserts. I have downloaded free printables. I have purchased downloads. I've ordered them offline. And I always really end up coming back to these because it just works for my work home life setup. And I like it a lot. So for all of you, Erin Condren planner, Happy planner, things like that, those girls out there, I know that this will probably drive you insane because I know how much you like to decorate your monthly spreads or even your weekly spreads. And this right here is just not, it's so small and there's just not a whole lot of room to decorate anything. And I don't put a lot of decor in here. So I just like one quick glimpse because I don't use the month section very much. I just want to see things that are important to know from a broad spectrum. I just want a quick glance at them. And here's some of those. That's not particularly how I use those tab stickies, but I will use them randomly throughout my planner. So again, I just write stuff in, nothing fancy. And then we have a couple of pages here that are just for notes of things to do in that upcoming month. I don't use that a whole lot because I have a separate note section that I utilize more. So a lot of this just catches decor more than anything. I do write down sort of an overview of the month's biggest to-dos that I have to get to, but I don't really use this a whole lot. So I just put a lot of washi in here, some Project Life cards. I have this little one here that says make it happen. So it's kind of like, get on your list, woman. There's minimal decor also within my week on 2 pages. I start by putting the washi down the insides here, and that's pretty much it. Everything else that happens, it happens over time. It ends up catching page flags and stickies and extra washi. So it's just a matter of whatever happens, I never know what it's going to look like. But I like layers in my planner, so if I get, not just for the purpose of remembering things, but because I find it visually appealing, but even if I get like a reminder card for an appointment, I will just put holes in it, slits in it, and you pop it right in. I mean, honestly, if you're working in your planner, how do you miss that? You can't. Now, I'd write it down, but I also want to make sure I really don't forget it, so I just make it impossible to overlook. So even if I have a flyer like so, I will pop holes in it, slits in one side, and there you go. I mean, it's like right there in the middle of your week. And after that day passes, for instance, this was a flyer for a reminder for something I had to do on Tuesday, and I wrote it down on Tuesday. It was a community forum at my place, and I really didn't want to forget it, and I kind of had a feeling I would, and I wouldn't remember to leave work in time, so I just put the whole flyer in here, and I thought, come on, if you forget this, then there is just no way you can ever remember anything because this is so in your face. But anyway, after Tuesday passes and I don't need to see the flyer anymore, it ends up catching a bunch of extra notes and sticky notes. So it acts as an extra page, which is really nice. And again, I think it's visually appealing. And I use washi to reinforce the stickies, and it just gets layers and layers. And I think that's nice. I like it. Okay, and I do use my Target page flags quite a bit in here. I know a lot of you have made comments that I've seen about how they don't stick very well, and it's true. I mean, they're not Post-its. You can't just reapply them at will. Pretty much once you put a page flag down, you want to leave it. And as long as I do it that way, I don't have any issues. I mean, they stay in place. So again, every single week, I just have a different washi strip down the inside here, and then I just add Post-its and page flags. And between that and the little bits of washi in these middle pages, it ends up being decorated enough for me. Like, I find this visually appealing. I only pretty much write with a black pen because I want my words to really catch my attention, and I find that when I write with, you know, blues and pinks and things like that, it just doesn't pop enough. So I just let everything else be the pop, and I just keep my written tasks and reminders, I keep those pretty bold. So, and I don't particularly try to theme it out, whatever washi I pick for that week. I do just kind of try to match it, I guess, and make it all kind of fluid. But here's another, it was a conference for my son, a teacher conference, and I just had to throw it in here and make sure I didn't forget it. And then I just ended up writing notes down for my son on these stickies. And if I have meeting notes that I just want to throw in, or notes that I take anywhere really, and I want to remember them, fold them in half, punch some holes in, bam, they're in. Here, I can show you right here, is an example of how I use those tab stickies. I had no idea that this would work out like this. I really didn't have any idea of how I was going to use those at all. But when I found out that they fit perfectly, and I have two little weekend boxes here, and I can show you more specifically actually. Let me show you up close actually. These dividers, or I'm sorry, these inserts, they start on Monday, and it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and it just works really well for my life. You have a little to be done today action list, and on the right side you have appointments and scheduled events. And usually I don't follow layouts the way that they're set up. I like to personalize things a little bit more usually. But this actually worked out really well for me because basically my whole life is, you know, to-do lists and meetings, because I work in a huge corporate building, and it's just a ton of meetings all day long. And because I work Monday through Friday, the fact that it starts on Monday is perfect for me. And the fact that the weekend, so this is your Saturday and this is your Sunday, again, perfect for me. I know a lot of you want the bigger weekend boxes, but I personally don't. Even though my weekends are open, I don't like to pack it in with plans because my weeks are so structured. And because my son and I both start, you know, obviously school, and I start work on Monday. Monday through Friday is our really structured time frame. And when we get to the weekends, I might write down a few things, but I really like to leave it open. So I loved when I found out that these tab stickies fit perfectly in one half of my weekend box, because it just adds an extra little, you know, if I do have something that I want to make sure I do, I can throw it in one of those boxes and it pops. You know, it doesn't blend in with all my other little, maybe my to-dos or my reminder for next week. I've got that one little event that will just go, hey, I'm here, don't forget me. I know it's the weekend and you don't really want to plan, but I'm here. So I just think that's adorable. And if I ever do change my lifestyle to where these inserts don't really suit me anymore, that will by far be the thing that I miss the most. I can almost guarantee it. I love everything about these inserts. This green here I can actually show you. Here's a blank page. This light green here, it really doesn't dictate my color scheme too much, which is what I hate in any sort of inserts. I don't like the stark white ones either. I mean, these are white, don't get me wrong. They're not cream or anything, but it's like a softer, to me, it just seems like a softer white. I don't know. It just works really well. I love the color. And I can just flip through some of these. I won't go into too much detail. But on the left side here, I do put my to-dos for the day with my little check boxes. And on the right side, I write down all my meetings or any sort of pertinent reminders or events. I'll put on my little Target page flags. And I think that that is really, really pretty. I think it makes the whole layout pop without really trying very hard. And these, for instance, are cut down smaller because, you know, those page flags are definitely, definitely longer. And I don't really like that they overlap my boxes sometimes, so a lot of times I do cut those down. Another, I don't even know what this was. It's probably just some note paper that I threw in there and ended up catching a ton of stickies. And I just think it's really pretty. It gives you a lot more room to write your notes, and it's visually appealing to me personally. I mean, this doesn't compare. I know this does not compare to the way some of you decorate usually your A5 size planners, like your Erin Condrens, for instance. Nothing, it's not even in the same ballpark. I feel very minimalistic when it comes to my decorating, but it suits me. And when I look back, because I do like to look back over my weeks, I find it appealing. I like it. I think it's pretty for me. It's definitely not the pieces of art that I have seen out there, though, in some of your planners, but it's just a different style of planning. So each week, like I said, different washi tape. If for some reason, like for this day, I was working from home because my son was homesick, so, you know, you just throw a pretty piece of scrapbook paper in there and just fill it in. I don't like to leave a whole lot of open white space, but I'm certainly, obviously, not a no white space decorator. Really, I mean, it's supposed to be, for me, it's supposed to be more utilitarian. And it's supposed to, the focus of my planner, although I do like it to be pretty, the focus really for me has to be my day-to-day tasks. Oops, sorry. And give me 1 second here because it looks like I'm coming up on a low battery. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so when I look at my planner, I don't want the decor to be the only thing I see. I definitely need to make sure that I check off all of my tasks, and if I don't, I go back and I look over the week and I make sure that they are checked off. Looks like I was bad. But anyway, either I'll decide against them and I'll put an X through them, or I'll move them on to the next week. But I really like to make sure that my tasks are all wrapped up. This is my peace of mind. I don't even know how I could survive without a planner, honestly. But here's just what some of my other pages look like. You know, this got overwhelmed by my son's birthday, so I just kind of covered everything that I had previously written down. Just going to show you what a few of them look like, not going into too much detail. This is the washi that is my favorite, so you'll see it a lot. I just tend to reuse it. I think it makes the gold rings really pop. And more of those tab stickies, I'll just use them randomly. If I want anything to stand out, I'll use them the same way as my page flags. Okay, yeah, so that's it. That page flag is not cut down. These are, so that's more, that shows more of the actual size that they come in. Pretty much every week does have this middle note paper that ends up catching more stuff. And if I do end up having a lot of extra white space, I'll just throw some washi in there just to make it look more pretty, you know, because I do like to look back and refer to things. But I'll write everything down. I mean, it was things for my son, things for work, bills I have to pay. It catches everything. Like here, I just use like a weekend to-do list instead of actual events that I had to do. And then here, this is my current week, I use a Project Life card. And these come about that big. They're full size for like full notebooks. And you just cut it down, you throw some extra holes in it, and because it's clear, and it does come with holes already in it, but it doesn't look that bad when you add your own because it's clear. And then you just cut slits in next to where you put the holes, and you can reuse it each week. And I really like this because I don't like when it's like you could use a pretty piece of scrap paper, or you can use the little plastic ones that come in a lot of planners, but I don't like it when they are the frosted or even the full solid not transparent dividers, because I like to kind of see everything. So these, even though they're completely clear, they add that extra little touch of decor. So it's not completely clear, it makes it pretty, but you can still see through it, and it doesn't look like it's dominating your layout or anything. So here we go. This is the current week. It's Thanksgiving week, so there's just not a lot happening here. Again, this is the way it looks blank, in case you're interested. You just get them from local office supply stores. Make sure that focuses. Okay, so we're coming to the end of my dated section here, and I just have this cute little pocket. Again, it's just like these sleeves I showed you up here, these floral sleeves, only you can also stick them to the actual inside of your planner. And this one is the gold foil, and I stuck it on, sorry about all that background noise. I just stuck it on a Project Life card to make it a little more pretty, and this just holds some dates that my sister wrote down for me and an extra little pad of stickies. This is from a set that I bought for my son and I both to use because he's 10, and I do have him using his own planner, and I will be doing another video on that because I think the idea of having your children become accustomed to this, I think it's really great. So this is a set that we both use because it's cutesy enough for me. I think it's really sweet, but it's also kind of boyish for him. Like I said, I'm going to show that because I just think it's a good practice with all the electronics, especially going around that kids have. It's good to get them writing things and getting their mind trained in that way. This is I want to say it's like a day runner brand from the supply store, from the office supply store. But it's my zip pouch, and it just holds paper clips. I'm not going to go into every little detail. Mostly stamps. It has a few planner stickers back here. It has a little sticker clear back that says "Be Happy." More stamps. Excuse me. If you have any little knickknacks, like here's an address label that I tore off of an envelope just so I can make sure to have my friend's address, her current address. And here are some more stickies that I think are adorable, so I threw a few of them in there. Something I can talk in more detail about in the video I want to do for just my sticky note collection. But it is a part of the Bando set that you can get at at Barnes & Noble, in case you're wondering. Here's another divider that I made that I had to mutilate, unfortunately. But that's where the tab was. I don't even know if you can tell. Let me know if you can, because on a quick glance, I can't tell that I even cut the tab off, and it really doesn't bother me. And this is coming up on my note section, and my note section is not very pretty. I just throw a bunch of stuff in there. I've covered some stuff that's more personal that I don't want anyone to see. But it catches, just like everything else in my planner, stickies and washi and just random. These are part of a really cute set. It's sticky all the way across the top, and it has this little old-timey phone here. So I use those for writing down details about calls that I need to make and reminders and such. And then I didn't even mean for this to end up being, I sort of inadvertently made this a master to-do list. So I just threw an extra little tab up there so I could turn to it, and the whole 2 sheets became a master to-do list. These are fuller size sticky notes, and they're just sticky on the top there. So I got these from Office Depot, and I think they're adorable. They already have the little circles instead of check boxes, and I use my Target page flags to subtitle them. So this one was particularly for September, October, and then I have more over here for work-related task lists. And again, just a bunch of random chicken scratch things, and I had put extra washi on to try to make it look neat. And I have extra of these just because they're really cute. These are just the note pages that came with my Daytimer set. And then if I don't really keep an extra section for lists of any sort, so I just put them on my sticky notes, and then I throw them on the note pages that I have in here. So this one actually became pretty thick with all the stuff that I stuck to it. And I write notes in here, work notes even. Like if I'm doing interviews, I write notes down about the people I want to refer back to. You know, little inspirational things to kind of get my mind spinning. And then I keep another Project Life divider in my the section of my notes that I left off on. So if I do want to just jot down a quick note and I'm fumbling around, I don't want to like have to flip through a bunch of different papers to find a blank sheet. So I keep this so that I can just flip right to it and start writing whatever I need to write. And even a quote from my son here that makes me laugh. I'm going to have some Filofax note paper here that I keep a few of. And then I have, this was a to-do list, like a list pad with a magnet on the back that I got from Walmart. I saw it, I fell in love with it. It's those little 88-cent list pads, and I mean, come on. That is some of the cheapest stationery you can get your hands on, and it is so cute with the glasses. So keep a few of those sheets in here. And this is some blog stuff I don't really want to go into. I just think that's adorable. The color, I don't usually love colored pages, but I do keep certain colors in here that I don't think take too much away from the planner itself. So that's one colored page you'll see, and the other color is this blue here that I just cut down from regular blue pastel, a pastel set of printer paper. And I use this section here, it's sort of my worth remembering inspirational section. And I just, you know, I'll do quotes on sticky notes, or I'll write down little blibs that might pop into my mind that I tell myself, or things that inspire me or motivate me. Quotes from a song, quotes that I just hear, quotes that I hear someone say. I mean, whatever, anything that inspires me, affirmations, inspirations, any Asians you got. And I also write down things I'm thankful for, another, you know, place where I write things that inspire me. And I keep those blue pages just for things like that. There's sort of no work-related daily task list stuff is allowed in these blue papers. This is strictly my deeper section where I just write things down that I find more, you know, they're better for my life as a whole rather than the day-to-day things that I need to do. So just a couple of extra stickies that I keep here that I really like. We're coming up on my last section, my last big section, which is my budget section. And right before that, I just have this little sheet here that I made myself. It is my travel log because I do work out of 2 different locations most of the time. Well, not even 2. I will travel to stores within my corporation. So just, you know, I for tax purposes and for keeping a record for work, I keep down a log of where I travel. And that doesn't really have a place. I don't really know. It's not something I really want in my expense section. It just kind of has its own little page. Here I have this Project Life card that I made myself. Or, I'm sorry, journal card. I've been saying Project Life card, I mean journal card, because they're not necessarily all Project Life brand. And I have such a huge collection of them, I can't remember what's what brand, so forgive me for that. But this is just a little one. I believe it's like, this actually might be a Heidi Swap one, but it's just a little card stuck on a bigger back card here. And then I laminated it and put holes and slits in it. I think it's really pretty. And it holds a couple of my other favorite sticky notes that I use a lot. And I got this set from Marshall's, so Again, here is another one of those dividers that I made myself, and I had to cut the tab off. This one is a little bit more obvious. I don't know if you can see it, but you can still see the edge of the tab where it was. And if you could see that, I mean, that of course is going to rub all up and down my pen. So it was just making the laminated part fray open, drive me nuts. So, and then just another 3x5 journaling card here that I can pop in and out, solely for the purpose of looking pretty and holding holding stickies, nothing else. These are some of my other favorites, so I keep a few of these here. And now we're coming up on my budget section. I know I just said we were, but I have a lot of extra in-between stuff. I just really, it's to make me happy, you know? This little frosted plastic, I don't know what you call it, but it's just a quote that I like, and it looks nice. And because I don't like any white space, I always put scrapbook paper on the backs of any pages that I have in here, because I just hate seeing a full sheet of white. I don't like to see, that's why I also have this at the end, because I don't like to see the back of anything. I want it all to be visually appealing. So coming into the first section of my my budget section is my expense tracker, and I make this myself, and it is tailored very much so to myself, although it is something I could edit and let other friends use. But let me see if you can actually get a closer view of this. So I have the months up here. I have the bills that are due down the side, and I have it separated by debt and just regular bills, utilities and such. I have the due dates down here, and then I have a loose budget going down this column here of sort of what kind of amount I can allocate each month to paying that particular bill. I do have it set to go August all the way through July of next year. Currently, that's the way my whole system is set up. Even over here, I'll show you. Because I have a very specific goal in mind of where I want to be financially by July of next year. I don't know why I picked July. It is a month after my birthday. I don't know if it's just I'll be turning 30 in June, so maybe, I don't know, maybe I have that in the back of my mind, even though I don't really care about turning 30, but I know where I want to be, so I use this to help me get there. So this is just to help make sure that I'm keeping my credit good, my credit score, and I'm keeping everything paid, and nothing's going to get turned off on me and my son or anything like that. And I have it set I have it in order of the due date. So if I'm going down the list, I'm checking things off. If I see a space that I missed, it's sort of a red flag, like, hey, you missed something, go make sure it's paid. And I did have down here, I had things like gas and groceries, but because you can't really say how many times a month you're going to pay those or purchase those things, it was much harder to keep track of, and I found that I didn't really use it. There was really no reason. I didn't need to refer back to it. But when it comes to utilities and things that you absolutely have to pay, usually once a month, definitely want to keep track of that and just have that solace that it's all been taken care of and that I didn't miss anything. And then I've got my debt here, which is my credit cards, my student loan, and my hospital bills that I'm repaying. And this being the third big section, I have another Project Life card here that I can turn to. And as I'm paying bills, I come over here, I just check it off. I have auto written in these, or added to these. I'm sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied. Because these are automatically deducted from my account, but I do still like to keep track of them. And if it is a fluctuating amount, I will write it on top of the auto. Here I pay this bi-weekly, twice a month, so I have 2 check boxes for childcare that I check off when I've paid for that 2 weeks or whatever. And when I'm filling in, which usually I'm pretty slack about it, and I don't actually fill in my week until maybe like the Sunday night before the week starts. So I'll go over here and say it's the first, it's Sunday night and it's the first, I will go look and say, okay, what bills do I have due this week? And then I'll go write them in for that week, just so I have that extra little reminder in case I forget to flip back here and check things out. Next I have it actually in sort of a landscape mode, I have my savings plan and my debt owed tracker, both through July, just like the other one was. I have 4 different savings accounts with 2 different banks, like different kinds of savings accounts. I have one for my son. I have a sort of an investment account, and then I have 2 separate savings accounts. And my dad kind of got me into banking with multiple banks just to make sure you always have a backup, I guess. So I have those listed here, and I have in great detail, I have a goal of how much I want to have over here in this column, which I've covered all these up, just, so I'm not sharing every detail of my life. But I have a goal that I want to be to by the end of July written over here, and then each month, at the end of the month, I will write down in that account, October, how much I have in each account. And I also have, I don't know if you can see this, but like this right here, it's very faint so that I can write over it whenever I do see how much I really have. But I have it delegated how much I have to put each month in that account in order to get to that goal. And I have that all across each row. So it's very, very, very tediously laid out, and the math is all done for me. And I even have a reminder because it is a pretty hefty goal that I want to get to. So sometimes I'm like, I look at it and I'm like, oh my God, I will never, how am I going to get there? But then I remind myself down here, anytime I start to feel doubtful, that it actually only delegates less than a certain amount of paycheck. And it's a very realistic amount to work with, to be able to set aside. So it's a good reminder, yes, this is a hefty amount, but if you follow this structure, you will get there. So it helps it's exciting, really, because you see that it's realistic, or I see that it's realistic, and then I also see that if I can just stick to it, I'm going to be really, really well off in less than a year. So down here on my debt owed tracker, I do write down my payments just to make sure that I'm doing it on time. But over here, I keep track of how much I still owe in each one, and I have each credit card here, as well as my student loan. I have to add my hospital bill to that, but and then at the end of each month, I'll write down how much I still owe in that particular card or in that loan or whatever it is. And then I'll write down the total amount accumulated of how much I still owe all together. So here I will see how much I'm in debt, basically. And then again, I have a goal over here, but then up here I have, actually, you know what? I don't have a goal here because obviously the goal is just to get as close to zero debt as possible. But I do have my credit limits listed out here for each of these cards because it is nice to know in case, I don't like to use credit, but in case, just knowing in the back of your mind that you have the option if you need to, keeping track of my total credit that I've earned. It's just sort of, it's like a safety feeling, to be able to see that and say, okay, if I lost my job or if I got sick or, anything, or if I had to take a break from work, that I would have, between looking at these two, it kind of helps me feel like being a single mom, it's okay. You have a plan, here's your backup, it's okay. If things do shift suddenly, it's going to work out fine. So it's a really good way, it's a quick glimpse, just to know I'm really in control of everything. Because I work really hard for my son to make sure he has everything he needs and make sure we're safe and that our life is sort of set up for us, So this is a really good visual reminder of that to help me keep everything in line, And that is it. That's all I have, just those 2 pages. My expenses, my savings, and then my debt, my owed debt. And that's all that I have in my budget section. So it's not overwhelming. It's realistic. It's easy to use. It took a lot of time, but I had to tailor it over time perfectly to what I needed and what I would use. Because if it's something that is not easy to use or it's too much that you have to write in, you're just not going to use it. So you want to make it so that you want to use it and so that it is not something you dread looking at, Otherwise, you're just not going to do it. So I have some more of this the paper that I used for my dividers earlier, only it's not laminated this time because I have to write on the other side. Another 3x5 Project Life card that you can pull in and out. Journaling card, sorry. Some of the Target Dollar Spot page flags, not page flags, stickies, just because those colors work nicely with that. And then I have another journaling card here that I just keep tucked back here. And I can also pull it out. And it says Cherish in gold foil, and it just looks really pretty. And then here's where I keep my receipts in a plastic day timer, I think. I don't know. I'm not really sure of the brand, but you just get it at your office supply store. And I keep all my receipts here, any recent receipts or things that I may need to return. I try not to let this get too bulky. So in fact, I'm getting to a point where I've kind of got to clear it out after Black Friday shopping. And that's it. We're at the end of the planner. Again, we have my back dashboard here just because I don't want to see this when I turn to the back of my planner. I want to see this. I want it to be pretty. And just to wrap things up, I do keep a few things back here in the secretarial pocket. Another little clear plastic thing that I'll put over all those stickies in between each of my weeks, because sometimes if my hand's over it when I'm writing, it might pull the stickies up. So I like to use that as a protector sometimes, so I keep it. Another badge for another office to swipe into. I don't use it as much, so I don't need it handy. I'll show you those in a second. Some more coupons that are too big to fit in that one pocket. Car recall information, some important papers. A check to cash for my son's birthday. Sort of like a catch-all. Here I actually keep this. It's a little note card from the Dollar Spot at Target, and I use it because I like to randomly write down things when my son pops into my head, which is pretty regularly. I mean, I do everything I do for him, and he makes me smile, and I like to, I don't know, really, I like to focus on that a lot. So I'll write things down throughout my planner. If I think of something he did that was funny, or something that he's done that I'm proud of, whatever, I'll write it on a sticky, and then I just kind of started throwing it in here, and adding on and adding on. You're not meant to be able to read them all at once because it just keeps on piling on top of each other, but I think it's really cute, and I like to add to it. So he even likes to go into my planner and look at it, and it makes him smile to know that mom's thinking about him all the time. Here is a really cute envelope I got in a set from Marshall's, and I use it to hold my washi, some extra washi. This was, a few months ago, it was my favorite washi's out of my entire collection. It's not currently. This is my favorite of all time though. But these are still really cute washi's. So if you're ever on the go, or if I go to work and I realize that I forgot to put those strips of washi down the inside of my week pages, it'll drive me crazy and I won't want to write in it because it won't look pretty. So I'll just use this, throw some in, bam, I'm good. So it is a little bit bulky. And here's another one as a reminder to myself that I have to start a new one with some more current favorites. But I keep that in here. I did used to have one with holes punched in it, and I actually kept it in my planner like so, but that did create a lot of bulk. So now I just keep it here in the back. And then I have this little clip here. It's just a pastel clip that has some washi on it to make it pretty, in case I do need to use it in my planner. And then here is my favorite pen. It is the Pilot G2.7, and it is in black. It's my all-time favorite. I absolutely have to have it with me wherever I go. I even keep extras in my bag, because if it gets misplaced, I feel frantic. Like I just have to have my pen. I don't love where this pen loop is in this planner because I feel like it's just a little bit too close in, although it does put a lot of pressure on the outside of my zipper, the outside of my planner. So I guess it has to be that far in, but I'm not a huge fan. And this pen will get in and out of it pretty, I can pull it in and out, but I have to go really slow. And it's just, I call it my anaconda pen loop, because the more you struggle with it, the tighter it seems to get. So that drives me a little crazy because, you know, when you're on the go and you want to write something in your planner, especially when you're at work with it, you want to be able to pull that in and out at will, really fast, really swift. So I'm in a hurry. I go to open my planner and write something down real quick, and I go to jerk that out, and I'm like, oh, okay, slow, and I have to calm myself down and kind of mentally take a break from everything that's going on around me, all the chaos, and I have to remind myself to slowly remove it, and it's frustrating. So I really hope that expands over time, because again, it works fine as long as I'm slow, but I can't be slow, you know? Things are way too hectic and chaotic at work when I'm using this thing, so it drives me a little nuts, but it's okay. So, okay, I think that's about it. That is everything. And again, if I breezed by anything too fast, if you have any other questions, I will be doing another video on the sticky collection. So I can go into more depth on those if you like, and just know that that will be coming. But if you have questions for now, I'll go ahead and answer anything you want me to answer, or if you want another look at something, I can take a snapshot of it for you. Okay? So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Bye-bye.